This animation will explain the basic principle of AR-15 style rifles, such as the M16. The standard M16 was equipped with a carrying handle and iron sights. The rear and the front sight could be adjusted with a cartridge to zero the rifle. A low-light level sight system for the M16 was also available. It featured a rear sight with a larger aperture of 7 millimeters and a front sight with radioactive tritium for visible light at night. Newer versions have been equipped with a low light level system and an elevation knob for better targeting. Today, a lot of accessories are available for AR-15 style rifles. Fluted barrels save weight and dissipate heat easily. Let's have a look at the M16's trigger mechanism. Initially, the M16 assault rifle could fire in semi-automatic and fully automatic mode. When in safe mode, the trigger cannot be pulled because of the selector's shape. When the selector is moved to semi-automatic mode, the recess in the bottom of the selector allows the trigger to move when it is pulled. As soon as the trigger is pulled, it releases the hammer. When the bolt carrier pushes down the hammer, the disconnector locks it in place. Before another shot can be fired, the trigger must be released so that the trigger sear engages the hammer again. In fully automatic mode, the trigger can move freely, whereas the disconnector stays at its position. The selector has a recess for the auto sear. The auto sear catches the hammer when the bolt carrier moves backwards. When the bolt carrier moves forward to chamber a new cartridge, the bolt carrier pushes the auto sear forward, releasing the hammer. Now, let's have a look at the bolt carrier. The bolt carrier houses the bolt that has several locking lugs, which are also called bolt lugs, and a cam pin. When the hammer strikes the firing pin is pushed forward. The firing pin hits the bottom of the cartridge, which consists of the case, the propellant, the bullet, and the primer. The case of the cartridge is filled with the propellant. At the bottom of the case is the primer. The primer holds the priming mixture. When the rifle's firing pin strikes the primer cap, the priming mixture explodes, resulting in the ignition of the propellant. The propellant is available in different shapes and mixtures. It is usually smokeless powder that reaches temperatures above 2,000 degrees Celsius. The pressure in the case pushes the bullet out of the case through the barrel to the target with a velocity of around 1 kilometer per second. The gas block and the gas tube connect the barrel with the bolt carrier. Pressure provided by the propellant is transmitted to the bolt carrier. Consequently, it is pushed back. The bolt is unlocked and moved backwards by the bolt carrier by means of the cam pin. The extractor removes the spent case from the chamber, while the spring-loaded ejector ejects it. first spring is compressed and ready to release the stored energy. Consequently, it will push the bolt carrier back to its initial position. The bolt chambers a new cartridge. When the cartridge is fully seated in the chamber, the bolt is locked through the rotation. Let's see it again from another perspective. The bolt pushes the cartridge into the chamber. When the bolt cannot move any further, the bolt carrier rotates the bolt through the cam pin. That way, the firearm can withstand the high pressure created by the propellant when the gun is fired. Let's see again the locking mechanism. In fully automatic mode, the rifle would release the hammer and fire. Because many soldiers would fire in fully automatic mode and waste ammunition, the burst mode was introduced. When the trigger is pulled, only 3 rounds are fired. This is possible through a spring clutch. The diameter of the spring clutch gets smaller or larger according to the direction of the force. So, when the trigger is pulled, the hammer strikes the firing pin. When the hammer is pushed back by the bolt carrier, the disconnector cam rotates thanks to the spring clutch. This is done 3 times until the burst cam follower reaches the stop notch. Because the stop notch is deeper, the disconnector holds back the hammer. So, the trigger must be released to fire again. Let's see it again from the side view. The civilian AR-15 can only fire in semi-automatic mode. It does not have parts and recesses needed for fully automatic firing. Furthermore, the lower receiver does not have room for the auto-sear, and only a full auto-bolt carrier can trip the auto-sear. The M16 and other AR-15 style rifles usually use direct impingement to cycle the action. So, when the bolt carrier moves backwards, residue can enter the upper receiver and other parts. This gunshot residue can become a big problem when the rifle is not cleaned regularly. Let's have a look at the upper receiver. When the rifle is not cleaned regularly, deposits can be found on the walls of the firearm's upper receiver over time. This can lead to increased friction between the upper receiver and the bolt carrier, so that the bolt carrier gets stuck and a new cartridge cannot be chambered. Here, the forward assist can help. Pushing the forward assist plunger will move the bolt carrier forward thanks to the notches. This can be done until the bolt is locked and the rifle is ready to fire. Flash hiders are common on military rifles. Flash suppressors hide the flash so that the soldier is not blinded in low-light shooting conditions. They do this by dispersing the burning gases so that they cool much faster. When the magazine is empty, the spring-loaded magazine follower, which pushes the cartridges to the top of the magazine, pushes up the bolt catch. By this, the bolt catch locks the bolt. The operator can change the magazine by pressing the magazine catch. Pushing the bolt catch will release the bolt. The firearm is ready to fire. Manually charging the gun is also possible. The charging handle allows the operator to move the bolt carrier to the rear. Releasing it will chamber a new cartridge. Subscribe now and never miss a new animation. The AK-47 was invented by the Russian weapon designer Kalashnikov in the 1940s. It is the most iconic and widely used assault rifle in the world. The shooter aims with the help of rear and front sight. The sight leaf, which represents the rear sight, is available in 800 and 1,000 meter versions. The maximum effective range is between 300 and 400 meters. The standard magazine has 30 rounds and is curved. The magazine can be removed via the magazine catch. Originally, the AK-47 used M43 cartridges equipped with Burden primers. Detailed information on cartridges can be found in the corresponding animation in this channel. The safety lever is used to make the firearm safe. Loading the weapon is not possible in this position. The safety lever allows the shooter to choose between semi-automatic and fully automatic firing mode. In the middle position, the safety lever locks the disconnector. In the uppermost position, trigger and disconnector are blocked. In the lowest position, trigger and disconnector can move freely. As soon as the trigger is pressed, the hammer is released. The disconnector catches the hammer after firing. The trigger must be released before another shot can be fired. The hammer is then immediately caught by the trigger, and the gun is ready to fire again. In fully automatic firing mode, the hammer can move freely until the trigger is released. AK-47 and AKM are assault rifles with a rotating bolt locking mechanism. Here, the bolt rotates to lock and unlock via two locking lugs. The firing pin can slide back and forth within the bolt. The retaining pin prevents the firing pin from sliding too far backwards. The front trunnion connects the barrel and the receiver. It has recesses for the bolt's locking lugs. The contact points are marked in red. When the bolt rotates, it is unlocked so that it can slide back and forth. The bolt is rotated through the cam guide machined into the underside of the bolt carrier, marked red here. As soon as the bolt carrier moves, the bolt rotates. Let's take a look at what happens when the trigger is pressed. The hammer is released, which drives the firing pin against the primer of the cartridge. The propellant is ignited, accelerating the bullet. The gas piston is pushed back by gas pressure. That That is why this type of reloading is called gas-operated reloading. Let's have another look at it. The gas piston is connected to the bolt carrier, so the bolt carrier is pushed back, unlocking the bolt and moving it backwards. With the help of the extractor, the bolt locks the case and ejects it through the ejector. Has been pushed down by the bolt carrier and is then caught by the disconnector. The tensioned recoil spring pushes the bolt carrier forward. This causes the bolt to feed a new cartridge into the chamber. Finally, the bolt is locked. As soon as the trigger is released, the rifle is ready to fire again. In fully automatic mode, the auto sear comes into play. The auto sear makes sure that the breech is locked before the hammer depresses the firing pin. The auto sear is tripped by the bolt carrier. The AKM was equipped with a muzzle brake. Gas pressure coming from the barrel pushes the weapon down to the left, preventing unwanted rising of the barrel. Subscribe now and never miss a new animation.
Ooh, I like this one.